and welcome back to the channel. I'm Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer, and this is the upgrade video for the VFC HK 416A5 V3 GBBR. Now, as always, let's stick the usual disclosures on screen, and well, let's get into it. Okay, so before we begin, if you like this type of content, hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Doing that helps me feed my family and, well, you know, put bigger and better airsoft toys on this table for you guys. So, it's up to you. Now, of course, because this is YouTube and we have to follow YouTube's T's and C's, I'm going to be kind of pointing you in the right direction. This is not a how-to, but I'll put as much as I can on camera. So, the first thing we need to do is clear this table, strip down the 416, and we're going to work on that trigger because that's going to be the more difficult side to this build. Okay, so here we are. We have our lower separated. Okay, now of course this being a HK 416, the pins go from the left to the right. You can tell by the way that they are hooded on each side here and here. So they only go out that way and they'll only go in this way, okay? So we are going to need to remove the hammer pin, and then obviously that leaves us free to remove that. But what I have done in the past when I've swapped out or repaired triggers, I've had to remove this. This is annoying, but it's nowhere near as annoying as what we're going to have to do here up ahead to try and tune this thing once it's set. So just a little FYI. Hopefully I don't have to remove the fire selector as well, because that would just be a sucky moment. But, you know, if we have to, we have to. So I'm going to get started on that. If there's anything different, well, I will let you know. And one little bit of tip time is, as you're doing this, take a picture of everything that you take out in the exact orientation it was taken out in. That way you can follow back your steps later on should you be doing this yourself. Okay, so when installing the new trigger base, one thing I will tell you is the pins come in. You won't be able to use the standard HK pins because of the actual holes of this actual lower piece inside here, the trigger part. As you can see, it's moving freely, and you have the other spring-loaded piece here at the back. Everything is nice and tight, so just remember you are going to be using your new pins. Just something you want to be well aware of going into this. Now it's time to, fit the horrible part, the hammer. Okay, guys, so once you've got the hammer and the trigger installed, and you can put your selector back in, it'll help you there making sure. One good positive is that even when this is not cocked, I can now go to safe, just like the real one. But yeah, basically you want this sear here to be able to catch, and this one's your secondary one, which will catch it on the trigger release. So when it goes back, you hear the first one. So if I pull my trigger back, it's okay, but if I leave my trigger back, it should click in there, and it should go click, get caught by the second, and then boom. Now to adjust them, there are two screws. If I bring that up, so I'm just gonna bring that, you can see the top one there, and there's another one right there. It's a standard little 1.5mm Allen key. Just put that in and adjust it until it catches on both at the right timing. Once you've done that, your triggers are in. Now, again, you are going to want to keep an eye on the pins themselves because the pins might start to walk out. Now, we are now going to fit one last little part, and hopefully this fire control group will be done. Okay, guys, so now everything is back in installed. You can now see that on safe, which, remember, you're going to need to adjust that second catch just so that the trigger here doesn't accidentally, because there is slight movement, you always have movement, but it doesn't release. Click. Nothing. Nothing. Flicked here. Release. You can hear the nice reset right there. And then you got that. It's so nice. And of course your full auto. You can hear the hammer dropping inside. It's so easy. that's nice. Everything is nice and ready to go. So time to take the upper off and start working on the inner barrel. Okay, so now we're moving on to the upper. So right now we're going to need to remove this. Okay, so to remove it, it's quite simple. Just make sure you got your ratchet straight. And let's just spin. One out, two out, there you go. Handguard comes off. You can see how I've been trying to fit the Mark 15. Now, at this point, I'm going to take that. We're just going to move that out of the way. Now with everything removed to the muzzle, all we need to do now is get this mock gas block out of the way, because this is always a nightmare. There is a little spring in there, so you just want to take that out for now. Okay, and then all we need to do next is hook on to the hole here, and then start to remove the barrel nut. Okay. So, with a lot of hammering and a lot of beading, we undo the barrel nut here. That can come off, and now we can just pull out the barrel, which is important. That can now just get set aside for a bit. And here we are. Now, so let's get into that, shall we? So we're going to need a screwdriver, which I have. I want one that will fit those screws just right. So, I'm not sure if that's the right pitch. Let's check. No, obviously that's way too much. Let's check you. You see, you don't want to strip them, so it's always best to look for the right size. Maybe I have to go for a smaller one. Okay, so rather than use my nice one with big, let's use the small one here. Okay, because these ones shouldn't really be. So we're going to leave them in order, and that's the good thing. When you do put this thing all back, like that one is tight now. It depends on how much thread lock at the time of the person fitting all this decided to use, okay? Because the more thread lock they use, which you can see on that one, it's got a ton, and that one, it doesn't. These are steel screws after all, so that's good. And that, in theory now, should release this hot chamber. That should, yep, free you out. Okay. Okay, so once you've taken all the screws out and you gently prised off the little polymer cup thing there, which is your locking lugs and all that, you will notice there are 3 screws here and 2 screws here. Once they're done, we can now gently, remembering exactly where the arm and everything went, put everything apart, and, well, you can see that. Oh, now this has been substantially beefed up with regards to the whole hot chamber thing. The previous one didn't do this. It wasn't as, how to say, beefy as this with all these locating pins and so on. This is definitely a marked improvement. So we take that bit off here. That's going to be your stabilizing, and we can now, well, we don't have to take this one off. We can leave that because we're just going to set that aside. And that now allows us to open up our, if we can get this open, our unicorn inner barrel. And there's our booking, foam protection, and here's our inner barrel. Now it is a little bit shorter, not by much, but it is a little bit shorter, and that's just because they didn't have any of the exact length of this. And to be honest with you, when this thing goes off, this thing is nice and tight, it's going to be more accurate, and I'm definitely going to be seeing a joule increase, I'm pretty sure. So it looks like we will be fitting a NPAS, which I have here at some point. So first of all, obviously we're going to get the main bits done, and then we can work on the rest. All right, so this is our booking right here. Come on, All right. Now we should be able to take a look at this, and we can see what they've done and what has not been done. So what you can see here is this has the cut right there. And for a unicorn, that's great, but it does mean that we're going to have to remove that in order to get this to sit and basically locate exactly where we need it to be. Okay, so time to get working. All right, so once you've got this off, I don't think with this one it's as detrimental as it is with the Magnus Pro, if I remember rightly. What we are going to need to do is find the hop little booking point. If I can get that in camera. So let's take this off for a minute. Yep, there it is. So we know that that's going to go there. And we can now do that. I'm trying to get this so I can see it first, and I can show you on camera exactly where this thing goes. Okay. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick it up because I don't have much light at the bottom, but yeah, in there is a little nub. Now we need to attach a little ring, and obviously this is going to be a locating ring for it. So we need to make sure we get this all lined up correctly. It only goes in one way, and it can only go one way. If I remember rightly, it goes in like so. The hop arm top is going to be here, so we need like that. Okay, then what we are going to do is take this pin here that gets put on there. That's our actuation arm that gets put into here. And if you've done everything and lined everything up right, it should fit perfectly back, and you can just easily reverse all the steps. Okay, so now that we've got the screws in here, all this is working properly, the arm works correctly. Now it's time to reassemble it back to the barrel. So this is quite simple now. You can see how all this system works. So now we've got the inner barrel, we slide it all the way in and make sure that that arm goes underneath that one, which however you set this in the first place, that's going to be. And then we can slide that in. It will only lock one way. And now we just add our screws. Grab our screwdriver. Get it on the head properly. And now we just reattach. Again, the more you know later on, it's ridiculous. As you learn this, which we're doing together, we can find out that how things should go. I like that. You know what they say? If in doubt, just do it and roll with it. You'll learn. Okay, now at that point, we've got that there. Now, hopefully, everything should be fine. If I've got this all correctly, everything should be lined up right. Okay, and with this, well, let's get this installed. Now, once we've got the barrel in, just turn it down. You don't need to lock this on yet, because right now we're going to do a quick test fit. So we take the handguard, we slide that over, and we lock it on. As long as you can put this through, you've got it right. If not, well then we are going to need to shim it a little bit, and that's where the next bit goes. Okay, so for this handguard I had to fit 2 shims, which will just sit nicely in there and help shim it down. There's nothing wrong with fitting shims, there really isn't. And at this point, we can now start getting everything back together. So we can put in the remainder of the screws. It's always best to just put one in, test it, make sure the handguard goes on. As long as it does, you're fine. And at that point, we can now zero all that down. We can flick you. Again, these are fine. I do love the over-engineering that VFC have done on this. I've made it a lot better. And just in case, it's best to just get one with a better handle. Make sure that they're nice and tight. Not too tight. With this, it does, the glue that's still on them is still there, and it will reset. So that's good. Okay, everything is now put on there. And now, all we need to do, now that we know that we've got the right amount of spacing on there, is flip you on. We can tighten this down, so that should be easy enough. You get my armorer's wrench. It doesn't need to be too tight because it is all going to be locked in place anyway. There you go. That's that in there. Now, what we are going to need to do is insert the spring, oh, as I smack my camera again, into there. We take our recoil rod and put that back in there. We can press, put in, and dunk. That's now in place. That's all now on. And then we get our nice, well-worn handguard at this point. And now you go. And then that should allow you to easily put that in, and we can now get the right screwdriver for it. I don't know if it's the right one right. Nope. So we're going to need a big fat head. Yep, that's going to be right. And then we can just start screwing it back in, okay? And that should help. You can see it there already lined up. Lock this thing back on. Okay. I mean, already, look at the difference on that. She looks so bloody beautiful. Now, if I go and check down there, I can see that the hop is just protruding through, which is great. Everything is nice in line. Awesome. So, this is now ready to go back on to the lower. So we can get that done. And we can then move on to putting an NPAS in. Okay, so here we go. NPAS, the nasty bolt time. All right, so first of all, you need to remove the screw here. And there's a little grub screw in there. Once that's done, this thing should all come off at the top, allegedly. So let's find out. So, take that screw there. Try and put it in the orientation it was in. Okay. And yeah, we need an Allen key. Now, let's see which Allen key it is. Nailed it. And I also see right there another one. Do actually have this cross pin. Okay. So I have a punch. That's about right. Okay, so as you can see, I've now installed the NPAS. The original one is here. These can be converted into an NPAS should you wish to, but it's a lot of work, but it's entirely up to you if you want to go down that route. An NPAS from Clutch Position, which ones I have, they're $16.99, I think, if I remember right, the last time I checked. And they work with all GBBR, you know, from VFC. As long as it's an AR GBBR, it's going to fit. Yeah, basically once you've done that, it's just putting everything back together and making sure everything is completely fitted correctly. There is a small roll pin here that needs to be knocked out, and there's a grub screw here. Then that'll allow you to quickly pop the cap out. Everything drops out. You just reverse everything, but putting in your new NPAS, and it's ready to go. Now, we take our carrier body, and we have to now reinsert, making sure we have that there, our pieces. And the worst part is obviously the bloody E-clip. That's always going to be the worst bit. So, without further ado, let's get that bit done. Okay, so, yep, the little E-clip is now back in. And now we just need to put everything else back. And that includes this nightmare of a monstrosity. To get it put back, it's going to be one of those fitting and fiddling moments. Okay, so now that we've got the cross pin in and this put on, it does take a little bit of fiddling about. We need to put the little O-ring back there because that is going to go on there. We also need to get our, what looks like 3 of these little pegs back in. So, well, given the fact that I've just launched one, let's find the other and we should be ready to go. Okay, so we now have all 3. So we just want to get the grub screw on there. And then we can start this down. And then we take our screw that we need. We need to swap out the heads, but my hands are now very very greasy from all that. That's the only downside to these GBBRs. They get very greasy quick. Okay, and then what we do in order to make sure we get this fitted correctly is take that O-ring. In fact, yes, that might be a better solution, but we'll see. You there a minute. Oh. Feed it over this just a tiny bit. Doing this allows me to get everything ready to go there. A little head start, putting that in there, grabbing that, and so all the grub screws are in. Nozzle runs free. Could do with a little bit of oil, but it's going to self-lubricate in a minute. So we can just now start cleaning all this mess up and we can get to the last few pieces to put together. Okay, so come on guys, she's looking absolutely amazing. So now we need to put the muzzle device. So we've got my muzzle device back there. So we're going to screw you on. Make sure that's on, and again I'll probably end up ripping my hands, so use a rag this time. Last time I did it I cut my hands open. It was not a pretty sight. Next, you can hear me get everything ready so I can show you how it's done. Okay, so next what we are going to do is take our muzzle protector or device. You know what it's going to turn into. Put that in. Put that across till it stops. Then we just have to lock. Okay, so with that part on, we take our rest of our bits without calling it what it is. You know. And then we thread you in nice and tight. Take the next bit. There you go. And well, we've got the thing fully constructed, which is awesome. Now we've got to work on the stock. Okay, so here is the DT stock. So we just open this up. As you can see, it's all genuine Magpul. Although in this one I never got any sticker. Normally I get a little Magpul sticker, but oh well. Cheap ass. But yet this stock costs significantly more than the standard MOE. But as you can see, it has all the accoutrement, all the extras. And this is going to be an absolute bastard to fit, that's for sure. You're going to need to basically pull that down, put a hook in and pull. And then that'll allow it to go over the buffer tube. Okay guys, so stock is now on and locks. It is absolutely beautiful. You do have QDs here, and this is a dual tension, so DT. So you can easily figure it to where you want it to go and lock it in should you wish. I have mine around there, perfectly in. All right, so let's clear the table and let's get some optics and that on there, and let's see what she looks like finished. OMG. Well, now that we've done the build part of it, it is going to be time now to take this GBBR out to the range and see how good it is. Let's put that trigger to the test. It certainly feels a lot lighter. Let's see what it's like, recoil-wise and so on, and accuracy. Let's see what the consistency is like with the NPAS, all those little things. Now it's time to jump into that. Okay, so we're using 2.5 gram BBs, green gas. I've adjusted the NPAS so that it's now within sight legal limits. So let's see what it's like with the new upgrades. Okay, all right, so now that we've upgraded this, let's check out what the Type bore in a barrel does by taking it back to the same marker as before, but this time let's see what the grouping size has either improved or gotten worse with. Let's go and check it. Yeah. Okay, so with the nice little wind we have, let's test the upgraded barrel and bucking with the Texas Star. Apart from pulling that last shot, yep, that's me. Amazing. Huh? Hello. Sorry. Oh, that was, I caught that on camera. Oh, that's good.
I'm watching Docker. Kev, grenade temple! Hold on. Thank you. Yeah, man. I thought it was clever.
Keep addressing ass to yourself, you later.
Absolutely not, sure.
Ow.
There's a door there.
I know, I'm wide load.
dead. Dead man.
What if you question what team you are?
I'm on with you. The ball is what team are Fuck you, Kev.
I don't like playing against Kev.
Goes right in my ear. Do the grouping through those narrow gaps. Absolutely perfect.
Last mag. Give me one more go. Where's it gone now? I had one. Oh, there it is. Bloody hand. That's very handy. Same again. So you can hit out to 35 easily enough.
Oh, well, easily. The range is absolutely brilliant.
Okay, guys. First of all, let's sum it all up. Wow. Surely, wow. Second, let's talk about what we did. So in this upgrade video, we've gone from the quad rail cheese grater from the standard A5 to the lovely Geisley Mark 15 M-Lock handguard, which is amazing. We've gone away from the slimline A5 stock, which was decent enough, to a more modular, more upgrade modern Magpul DT stock, which is that middle way point between the MOE Classic and the CTR stock. So you're keeping the nice narrowness of the MOE and everything, and you do have the dual tension system in there. There is literally 2 tensioning springs in there, but now you're getting the CT modularity of such as the QD sling points, which is great. You still get the cheat riser clip parts here, ready to put one on if you need it. I don't. So that's great. So aesthetically, amazing. And of course, we can't forget the amazing suppressor slash tracer slash muzzle device, whatever you want to call it. It is what it is. But yeah, absolutely amazing. Again, you do have QDs on the handguard now, which is brilliant. But if we look at the inside, what we did was add an NPAS, which it's a bit of a give and take. An NPAS is a compromise, and it's something that even VFC knew when they manufactured it. It is when you talk about one size fits all, because the NPAS that I put in this is the exact same one that's in every AR GBBR on VFC's list. So there you go. And it's fully compatible with that, except this one being made by Clutch Precision. Thank you guys. You guys are amazing. I did buy it myself. But they machine that out of aluminium properly. It's decent. It's not plastic. It's not going to break, etc. Now, accepting that little bit of a compromise, you know you're going to have a bit more dirty air, we installed the Type bore in a barrel from Unicorn, which is the 6.03. So it's that nice middle ground between 6.05 and 6.01 in the Type bore spectrum. And of course, it is really good. We can see here with the accuracy. I mean, look at that. You are looking at under 2 inches now, a very nice tight grouping, and that's awesome. Doubling up shots is always good when you're looking at a grouping size. It just shows pure accuracy now, and that's with the little bit of turbulent air coming up into the nozzle and that, and as a rocket valve does its job, it's hitting that grub screw in there, and then that's just going to spiral down there. But because we've tightened the inner barrel, the BB can't move as much, so therefore when it leaves the barrel it's got more stability. So it's the compromise you make. And then we put in the Crusader 2-stage trigger set for the VFC GBBRs, and oh my god, you now have that lovely take up. You now have a crisp clean break, so you can take it up, you feel the wall, you can now break it. Your reset is nice, you can easily reset. It's about 3mm I've got mine set to, and then you can easily break it again. It's very simple, it's more concise, and it kind of gets rid of that super strong trigger that the single stage had, because that was like 5.5 pounds. We've now dropped to just under 3. It's more like 2.5 to 2 pound a pull, which is really good. And you can adjust the trigger as you wish to break and have less strength needed, but I've got mine set just right. And again, the other good thing is, as you can see, trigger's dead, but look, one good thing with that trigger pack, we can now put the gun on safe. Just the added extra realism, just like real steel GBBRs. And that's what we want in our hobby. We love it. It's just amazing to get that all put in there. So, with all the little extras that we put on there, the T1 dot and the nice hand stop there, the lovely BPW muzzle device, whatever you want to call it, it's just absolutely beautiful. And of course we do have the 800 lumen Wansan M-Lock light, which is great with a M-Lock button for its remote. I love it. I think this is amazing. I was really impressed. Taking it into gameplay, this thing just absolutely double taps very easily, and you're accurate. You're not pulling your shots no more. You're not yanking that trigger. You just tap, tap, and it's done, and you're moving on to the next target. It's just brilliant. So, yeah. And I know I've left the QD rear sight. One thing I do plan on doing is ordering a Clutch Precision G95 front sight for it, and that'll be finished then for this. For me, I'm just happy with this. I think it's absolutely stunning. But as always, what do you think? I know this has been a bit of a long one and it's a bit all over the place. I hope you forgive me for not being able to show you every minute detail, because that'll be classed as a how-to by YouTube and goes against YouTube's terms and conditions, and well, we don't want that. Hopefully you guys will appreciate this video, share it with your friends and all that. Do all the usual YouTube stuff, because I really do appreciate it. Helps me feed my family and actually put better weapons on the table for you. Let me know in the comments down below. As always, I've been Andy the Middle-Aged Gamer. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and I'll catch you in the next one.